So let's talk about for a second maybe the biggest consequence of moralism, Micah, and that is that we are redefining our crisis. In other words, modern man in a digital age, in this cultural moment that we're living through right now, when he adopts this sort of external moralism, therapeutic model, sort of synchronized kind of Christianity, because it's synchronized with paganism and evolution and moralism and all kinds of stuff, ecumenicalism and such. What happens is that people begin to redefine their crisis. And so people begin to identify their crisis along moralistic lines. And what happens when that happens is that Christianity and the identity and the spirituality of Christianity becomes remade or reimagined in our own image, so that we begin to define what is it that we need the most. What is it that is wrong with us? Well, then we can begin defining that through moralistic lines of thinking. We can say what's really, really wrong with you is your politics. What's really, really wrong with you is, your sexuality. What's really, really wrong with you is you're not finding yourself enough. You're not expressing yourself enough. And so when you look at the television or you look at the ads or you look online and what's going on, Christianity has nothing to do whatsoever with a religious and forensic dilemma, meaning that man is condemned in the presence of, in the sight of a holy God, and that his dilemma is wholly religious, meaning it relates to his creator. It's between the creature and the creator. Man's problem is with God. That's the problem, is he is not right before his maker at the forensic level, at the legal level. And so when that happens, when we redefine our crisis, then we will begin to suggest our own remedy to our crisis. And so what do you see everywhere today? Well, man, above everything, man needs happiness, right? Man needs mental wellness. People need self-expression. If you cannot express yourself or live out your own ambitions, you are not authentic. You don't know what it means to be authentically human if you can't live out what you want to do, who you want to be, how you want to act, right? And that involves everything from gender to sexuality to your fashion to your sense of ambition, your goals, right? The way that you view your telos, your teleology. Why were you put here? Why are you designed in the way that you have been designed? And so that man begins to crave not some sort of spiritual transformation through conversion, repentance, forgiveness of sins, and through union with Jesus Christ, and through what we call imputation, which is the great exchange. Your sin credited to his account, his righteousness credited to your account by faith alone. That no longer becomes the great crisis and remedy that man has. Now what man desires above all is absolute autonomy, the right to do for yourself, to be for yourself, to be self-assertive, self-sufficient, and that you achieve the next level of your well-being for your own good. And so what happens? That's where redefining your crisis leads you to. It leads you to autosoteric religion. That's absolutely crucial. And so, I mean, when we're talking about autosoteric religion, what are we talking about, right? People saving themselves. And everything that you find, and here, Micah, we can tie in AI and transhumanism right here. Because it's not just today, what's going on, what's the language, what are people talking about? Well, is it sort of this kind of like pseudo new age, integral, kind of pagan, Eastern kind of elimination of the binary? Is the Jungian philosophy? Is this what we're talking about? Yeah, that there is that. Integral thought is everywhere. But with the whole notion of technology, artificial intelligence, and transhumanism as a philosophy, now we're being told that just give it enough time, enter in Ray Kurzweil, just give it enough time and radical life extension will be completely obtainable. And so we can get rid of our diseases, we can get rid of our cancer cells, we can get rid of degenerative elements in our bodies, we can regenerate the human body, we can replace it with artificial parts that last 500 years. We can conceive now of humanity 2.0 through nanotechnology. We will be able to essentially stop the aging process. And Ray Kurzweil, in his projection for 1945, and then later 1970, I think 75 and 99, in one of his books, The Age of Spiritual Machines, Ray Kurzweil says that longevity will no longer be a viable category for humans. We won't even talk about it anymore. Like, what's like your life expectancy? Well, when you're living to 500, 600, 700 years, who cares what your life expectancy is? That's just no one's even going to talk like that anymore. I think it's a vaunted dream. It will never happen, but it shows you where man's faith is at. I mean, doesn't it? Shows you where man's faith is.
Yeah, we can do it ourselves. We can
We can
build
do it
it
all
ourselves.
ourselves. So that's
We can.
autosoteric religion.
Well, I mean, could you not say that AI is the current Babel for this generation?
Yeah.
I mean, look at it. I mean, we're trying to make AI just in our image, and then I feel like we're going to be shooting way beyond and getting something that's Skynet that's going to kill us all because we're inferior to it.
Yeah, they're talking quite a bit about that, brother, right now. And so I think we all have the AI stuff looming over us. It's everywhere. It's
Right.
everywhere. But within the day-to-day operations of our culture, of our times, and the world in which our neighbor lives, the autosoteric religion, the autosoteric philosophy tells us that in this modern world, the modern psyche is conditioned by a self-centered culture that believes in the power of self. You can do it. I mean, you can't look on YouTube without looking at 1,000 different videos about entrepreneurship, how to start a business, how to grow a business. And of course, now everything's about how to grow a business through AI, but it's all about what you can do, what you can produce, what you can
Right.
build. And it's all self-help programs. It's everything today now is a process of self-discovery. It's a pagan sort of egoism that is going on everywhere. It is a journey to find yourself. I think Carl Jung won the psychology debate between him and Freud. Freud would be much more of identifying your inner psyche through being authentically sexual or whatever. Carl Jung would say, no, it's about you recognizing that you are essentially one with the universe, and that there's a spiritual consciousness within you. It's within all of us. We share these these archetypes that we all belong to. We all share these common sort of images that reflect our personhood We all have a mixture of everything inside of us. And so this self-realization takes place in an autosoteric religion. It's all about finding the optimum of what you can be based on your own effort, your own self-discovery, your own self-realization. And then, of course, that always, always, always results in self-expression. I think Peter Jones at one point points out that self-expression has become equated with human rights.
Mm-hmm.
So if you cannot self-express, and that's seen more than anything, that's seen in the whole gender confusion stuff that's going on, that if you are not allowed to express yourself, then your basic human rights are being taken away.
Right.
And so tantamount to being human is this idea that you can express whatever it is you've conceived for yourself. And all of this put together is this notion of self-improving, self-advancement, and I would say this is the world's form of self-redemption, autosoteric religion. And that is absolutely dreadful on every level. It's dreadful because it has man looking to himself and not to Jesus Christ. So Jesus Christ hung on a cross, but for the modern man, he hung there as a means for us to somehow imitate him, or we can benefit from his example, but we don't actually need his righteousness. And that's not good.
No, that's kind of a scary place to be, which is unfortunately where so many people are, and we have to figure out the kind way. Because one of the things that you're saying is moralism expresses itself in a lot of different ways, and sometimes it's this pseudo religion that the world creates. Sometimes it's more of a fundamentalist do's and don'ts list of what you have to do to be able to even be called a Christian, let alone be welcome into the camp. So, but none of those things matter whether or not your expression is there, or whether or not you make the perfect casserole for the potluck. None of that really matters. It's what did Christ do on the cross? What did Christ accomplish whenever he walked out of the grave? Those things are what matter, and that's where our salvation is. And yes, I mean, moralistic behaviors can come out of salvation and because of your sanctification, but they are not the cause of those things at all. And
Right.
we get it so often confused, as it is what we are doing that gets us or makes us saved versus what was done for us that saves us.